Anakaya forms and bilocate and, all these miraculous stories, right?
Right.
We hear that when you delve into Tibetan Buddhism, you get quite a repertoire of these miraculous stories, don't you?
Yep.
Well, I would say in the language of Don Juan, to some people those are just tales of power. But to some of us, those are acts of power. And I am totally convinced that those of us who ally with the goddess and practice planetary tantra are due to learn that magic at that level of physical manifestation. And that would level the playing field.
Couldn't agree with you more. Thank you. I guess I had one other question. I get lost in this. Yeah, well, I kind of, after this, 3 days ago, can you share a little bit more in depth about what was being revealed to our global community? There's a lot obviously happening on the planet right now, but so it can be a little bit tangible to the listener that maybe not practicing in planetary tantra, but so they can connect the dots.
Okay, so the question is,
just after this transition that we just had after the new moon, the past 3 days, if you could share what's currently being revealed in the correction to the global community.
Right. Okay, what's currently being revealed in the correction is, let me see, the place where everyone draws the line in the sand is now being revealed in the correction. This is what I would say. In other words, whether or not those who are listening to this conversation are able to follow everything we're talking about right now, regardless of that, they can brush up on it, they can pick up and investigate it as they are so inclined. But regardless of their orientation to planetary tantra, in this shift, in this current moment of correction, is where we are shown where to draw the line in our personal reality and say, this is what I will take, this is what I will not take. Because there's a way, if you can imagine a wave crashing on a beach, and we have all walked down to the beachhead, and we're kind of standing there with our feet in the water. There's a line of human beings. There's 1,000 of us. And a wave is coming. And this is what is happening in the Wall Street protests. Yes, indeed. It's as if people are standing on a beachhead, and a wave is coming. Now, these people are going to be hit. They're not just standing there passively. They're going to be hit by this wave that's coming in. Now, this is a moment when you brace your feet and you draw the line. So when the wave hits, some of the people are going to go down under that wave, and some people are going to stay standing. And that metaphor expresses the fact that you have found a place where you will stand ethically and morally in your life and in the social world around you and say, this is where I draw the line. I can put up with this much. I can put up with this much lying. I can put up with this much deceit, this much manipulation, but I cannot put up with it beyond that point. And it's where we find our limits. And we need to find our limits because it's from our limits that we gain our strength. So this is a tremendously important moment this month of October. And I would add that there are 2 key moments in the navigation of the mother ship. On October 6th and on October 29th, the mother ship, the planet Earth, is again entering into another step of her self-propulsion. And I asked you to observe in your own life, October 6th and October 29th, if you can feel that shift. And I can tell you exactly, I can give you the syntax of anticipation. It's a feeling of enormous relief. It's a feeling that you know where you stand. It's almost like the feeling, I'm tempted to quote the old Serenity Prayer, you know. You know what you can change and you know what you can't. You know what you can tolerate and you know what you can't. And everything that you can't handle falls away. And all of the oppression of the world, because there's so much going on that we can't handle. When that falls away, you know what you can handle. And this is what is possible to feel deeply at these two moments of the 6th and 29th of October. So this is a tremendous month of orientation toward Gaia's correction. Whether or not you are following all of the, all of the esoteric details I'm offering or not, this is the moment to really get into it, to get in step.
Beautiful. I'm looking forward to it. So thank you so much for answering these questions.
Thank you, Suzanne. Pleasure.
Thank you, Suzanne. Next, we have Green Meadow.
Hi, John. That actually flows really well into the question I had, because you've been talking about right action, and I've been seeing a lot of call to action in the world.
Right.
And I kind of have two things that trip me up with that. One is I'm more of a healer than a warrior, so is this even my game? And the other is I hate ineffective action. So I don't want to be called into something that's a waste of my energy. So how do I approach this when I've got more healer than warrior energy, and how do I not be sucked into ineffective action?
Well, those are two really excellent questions, and I'm totally in with you. I don't like to be ineffective either. Let me respond to the first question first. Warriors have different predilections. Don Juan always taught that to Castaneda, and you see it in the variety of gifts and talents in the Warriors' party around Don Juan and Don Dinero. You see Pablito and the various women in the Nestor, Pablito, the various women in the Warriors' party. It was a Warriors' party of 16, just like the ancient mystery cells of Little Este. And each person comes to the party with different talents. So you already know what your talents are. And not everyone is going to be on the front line here. Not everyone is going to have the disposition or the guts to do right action, because it is, after all, taking the responsibility for taking life, a human life. And so, but there's going to be plenty of need for other people in the party, especially healers, because we are a species emerging now from a long, long history of traumatic and psychological damage that has been systematically inflicted on us by the predator class. And so people are healing themselves, people are descending and pulling out of the game with the predators and recognizing who they are at every level, social, economic, educational, sexual, and so forth. But not everyone, at this critical moment, not everyone is then going to be disposed to turn around and go back into an engagement with the predators, you see, in a warrior mode. And so there's going to be plenty of need for healing. There's going to be plenty of need to keep the tribe together and to bring inspiration and nurturing to the warrior tribes of Kali. And so your role, it seems to me, you already have the answer. That is your role. And it may well be that it's in your destiny from this point on in life, if you engage in her correction, that people who have been, wounded in the battles that are to come, or people who are still not quite healed from the wounding of the past, will need your assistance. They will show up in your life. That will naturally be the way that you will work, as a healer. It just seems to me you already know your path. Don't be concerned about that, and stay. As far as the second question is concerned, stay with what you're effective at. I have a rule. I was saying to a friend the other day, I just really hate it when I don't know what to do. For instance, just in a simple thing, like with a cell phone, for instance. If I have a cell phone, in fact, was having a lot of problems with my cell phone in Spain because the service is so bad. Well, I hate cell phones anyway, but I don't have a landline, so I have to use one. And little things would come up, and I just didn't know what to do. And I just hate not knowing what to do. I hate being ineffective because it's a dead end, isn't it? it's like being plugged into a socket and there's no electricity coming out of the other, from the source, isn't it? So generally, I just absolutely disengage myself from those things, and I only concentrate on what I can be effective in. So don't get involved in any movements, any groups. Don't get involved in the practices of planetary tantra if you don't feel they're effective. You see, you can have your connection with Gaia if you make the vow, do the blood rite and make the vow, and then see where that connection takes you.
Yeah.
Okay?
I guess it's hard because I have the eyes to see, and I can see all that's wrong.
Yeah.
And
well, so do I. And so what I want to do, along with the people who are in this process with me, because I can't do it alone, is I want to define our terms of engagement, and that's what Right Action is about. And as I do that, I do that in these coming months, you may find a niche that fits you, a niche that fits you for something you can really engage in. Otherwise, you always have your calling and vocation as a healer and lover, and we're going to need that, because this is a war. This is a war, It's not a war of our choosing, but it is a war that has to be fought,
Yeah. Thank you. That was a wonderful answer. My next question is a big part of the nightmare is pollution. And, we've got plastic in the ocean, chemtrails in the air, pharmacology in the water, radioactivity.
Right.
Does Sophia have a means of correcting this, and can we help?
Yeah, she does have a means of correcting this. And it can be known and can be experienced and tested if we live with her in real time. Now, I'm in the process of writing a document right now, which ought to be done in the next week, which is a complete overview of the apogee and perigee surges until March 2014. Said that the initial conditions of her correction occur in these 3 years, which is 10 seconds of her time. And although no one can say what's going to happen, I always emphasize this. I'm not a prophet and I don't predict. I think you respect the fact that I'm careful in the way I speak in that respect. But I am the navigator of this experiment, and a navigator's job is to chart a course. So suppose we were going to sail from, say, Nantucket Island off the coast of Massachusetts down into the Caribbean to Bermuda, okay? Well, I, as the navigator, would chart the course. But then, actually, the sailing, I can't predict. I don't know what's going to happen. But I can see how we would navigate from A to B. So I'm charting the course, and according to what I see, when the apogee of the moon reaches the tail of the Scorpion, when it enters the constellation of the Scorpion, and particularly when it reaches the tail of the Scorpion, which is very much connected with toxification and poisoning, that she would reveal to us, she would actually demonstrate in the geosphere, in the biosphere, and also reveal to us the extraordinary healing powers that come from her awakened presence. So this is something to anticipate. Again, I'm not predicting. It's not going to happen just because of some wishful thinking, okay? You have to be interactive with this for it to be real with you. If you're not in the living paradigm of her imagination, this won't be real for you. But if you put yourself in that, as I have done and other people are doing,